All right, what's up, everybody? I hope everybody's been getting enough sleep and has been resting. I've been telling everybody that you got to stay hydrated and you got to take care of your body and all this stuff because because I believe that we are at war right now today, present day. Today is Sunday, June 21st, 2020. I believe that we're at war today. And I believe that 9/11 is a war. It was an act of war that somehow it has already taken 11 years for us to actually realize that 9/11 was an act of war. It was an act of war and it was an act of terrorism, but not actually against Osama bin Laden, who, again, just like Puma Punku, you gotta wonder if all these things happen to be on these incredible days, 9/11 being a thing about 911, and then actually connecting to something else that I think it is, a Nazi, a specific Nazi who calls 911 quite often. Uh, so anyway, you know because I've been fired 7 times in a row that he's been calling 911. But anyway, I made a timeline, and actually, in this timeline, I might as well go ahead and start talking about the timeline. I'll talk about my other conspiracies in my next video. I mean, I got a couple other videos to make, but this video is actually a lot about Einstein right now, and Einstein is blowing my mind right now. And then here is my timeline. Make sure you can see all of that. This is my timeline. So just go ahead and pause the video and take a look at this. But I'll try to keep talking while this is up. Uh, so as you can see, I've got 3 names on there: Edison, Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla, and Albert Einstein. And right as of today, I mean, Thomas Edison is credited for having invented the light bulb. And they even think Tesla did it. Tesla invented the light bulb. But if you actually look at kind of like when they met, Edison and Thomas Edison didn't even meet. Thomas Edison supposedly invented the light bulb in 1879, which is the year that Albert Einstein was born. But the thing that's weird is that, I mean, the electric lamp was invented back in 1802. I didn't even write that out. 1802. Okay, so I got this back up so you can see it. So in 1802, the first electric lamp was invented, and then there's fights between Tesla and Edison for who invented the light bulb first. But Edison didn't even meet Tesla up until 1879. And I'm also gonna put a link. I'm going to show you what the internet is showing you as far as when all these inventions were first created. Uh, but basically, I think Einstein should be credited for most of the inventions back in the 1800s, because more of it is, if you look it up and you do the math, you see that basically there's a trail that leads to nowhere so far as who gets credited for first discovering invisible light waves. It's unclear as to who did it. If it was Hertz or Ohms or Tesla or whatever, it's kind of hard to tell who was the first person to discover light particles and light waves. And Einstein was the person who had the greatest fascination of light. His science led to a double slit experiment. His science led to electromagnetivity. His science led to Big Bang theory. E equals MC squared, Big Bang theory. His science led to, like I said, light and electromagnetism, which is true too. Like your light bulb, your incandescent light bulb creates an electromagnet. The light coming out of it creates an electromagnetic force, and then these are all things that I believe Einstein to have been the original creator of. Not to mention, like I said, he built the H bomb. He built the H bomb with half of a hadron, with, I mean, a small, I mean, I say half, dude. It's like I mean, he built the H bomb with like a hundredth or a thousandth of what the Hadron Collider is in CERN, which is the biggest one. And why do you even want a bigger one? You don't want a bigger one. You want a smaller one. That's more. A smaller one is more powerful. That gigantic, stupid boson collider is a waste of time too, because you're going to find that the spirit is the end of all this stuff, and then the spirit is just God. That's just God and the Holy Spirit, stuff like that. The spirit is the string theory is probably describes the spirit probably pretty well too, because you're already talking about things that are like kind of not in a non-existent plane. But anyway, but the spiritual realm being something you need spiritual technology to research the spiritual. You can use physical technology and test the spiritual though, because the spiritual and the physical are connected according to the double slit experiment. And according to 1 Corinthians 2:11 and the double slit experiment, which was created by Albert Einstein. So, or it was the double slit experiment. I haven't actually looked it up yet, but I think the double slit experiment certainly comes from Einstein's work in photons and science of photons. But more to come on all this physics. There's so much stuff to talk about. I'm gonna amend the 12th Amendment. But anyway, so you can see on here we got World War I and World War II, and Einstein was 35 and 60 here. You know that Einstein helped in ending World War I or ending World War II, but you don't know how he helped in ending World War I. And I think that we're gonna do some research. I think we're gonna find that this stuff is always pretty interesting, being Einstein in these world wars. So be more on the lookout for more science and stuff like that. This timeline is basically just shows you how things are. And then 2001 being 9/11, the Nazis never died. As you can see how I kind of put on here is the Nazis really never died. 9/11 was a Nazi attack, and we attribute it to Osama bin Laden. But just to think that somehow, like by the time we get to me and all this stuff with Pumapunku, the duality, the bilingual joke of Pumapunku, the bilingual joke of 9/11 and all this stuff. These attacks were not done by Osama bin Laden. And if we have not fixed what was going on during 9/11, be it infiltration and corruption, which corruption was the reason why 9/11 happened in the first place. There was bombs on the plane. It's just you gotta get your head past the conspiracy part, and you gotta get your head into the realistic part. And then to think that those planes even took down those buildings. Those planes did not take down those buildings. Bombs did. Bombs took down those buildings. A plane cannot take down a building like that. A plane can't even fly fast enough to take down that whole building like that. A plane may be traveling closer to the speed of light, maybe. But no, the plane hit the top of the building and the whole thing came crumbling down. That's not realistic because those buildings are very strong. They're made really, really well. So, and then one plane hit the gosh darn Pentagon. So, those were Nazi attacks, and that's a sign of corruption. It's all the stuff that QAnon talks about. So those are signs of corruption. So I'm actually going to cut this video right now because it's already at 8 minutes. I talked about the timeline. I'm going to put links, or I'm just going to put links for all the inventions of the 1800s and 1900s. It's kind of interesting in the 2000s. And you'll see that there's really not a lot of individualism going on in the world since Einstein. Really, our inventions have become quite lame since the computer. So here we go. We got to actually start getting our heads around a little bit more stuff and being a little more creative and stuff like that as well. So a nice 9-minute video.